Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome or welcome back to another video, and it's really time for me to sit down and film this. We're almost at the halfway point of this project pan, and to think I've barely ever made any progress is quite insane. But I do have an update and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Um, but yeah, let's just I guess dive right into Beauty A to Z update 3, I think. For the letter A, I have the About Face Not Your Baby liquid lipstick. It is such a beautiful, like pinky tone shade. I've had 3 uses on this since since the last update, and I've also, which means in total, I have hit now 8 uses, and that's 8 out of 50. I'm just gonna show you guys a swatch of this color. That's just what it looks like. I really hope you can yeah, I hope you can see that. It is a really beautiful sort of shade, and I do like to grab this as much as possible. I got this when it was already on sale, so I'm assuming it was like a slightly old product at the time, and I've had it for some time as well. And it would be really nice to sort of have as much use as I can before I have to then decide or think about letting this one go, because it is a little bit watery. As you can see today, it's not really done that before, but it's causing those lines, and it does sort of mean that the product is slightly starting to separate, which is usually the time I tend to like start throwing products away. But before I officially quit this item, it would be nice to get some more use out of this. I think this is, surprisingly enough, it's still a bit more of a like unique shade in my collection, meaning I don't have that many of this particular color, even though it's not that like colorful or like, and obnoxious is the wrong word to say. It's not like that unique, I guess, but still, like, I don't really have many shades of this color. So I think maybe one day I'll sit down and do like a video swatching all of my liquid lipsticks and seeing if I can get anything close to this. I don't know if that would be fun. Let me know if that's something you guys would want to watch. But anyway, I've hit 8 in total. That's 8 out of 50. So it would be nice if I had a few more uses over the next month or so. The next product is this Beauty Bay liquid eyeshadow in the shade Carnelian. It is slightly on the older side. I'm so sorry about so much noise because I've got the windows open. It's so hot today. This is a very sort of liquidy product, which isn't really common with a lot of my other liquid eyeshadows, and I do think that is because this product is sort of not only separating but probably like on the verge of expiring. So um again, like, I'm gonna have to think about like what I'm gonna do with this product. Since the last update, I've had 2 new uses, which now takes me up to 6 out of 15, which is okay. Like, I've gone just over the third of like uses mark, which is great. It would be nice if I could have a little bit more uses under my belt before I have to toss this product. I think that'd be kind of nice. But I'll just show you guys a swatch of this product. It is a nice shade, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, me and liquid eyeshadows don't always work. That's just what that looks like. It is a really nice sort of shade, but I think if I am going to ever use a liquid eyeshadow, it has to be one that sort of dries down immediately and then it just stays dried down. Whereas this one, because I have like folded eyelids, that part here, especially the inner parts, is where my eyeshadows always end up creasing and sort of disappearing. And it happens with shimmers, mattes, and also just like with like liquid, especially like some of these. So it would be nice to sort of try and use this up, or find multiple ways of trying to use this product up by the next update. And maybe once I hit the 15 uses, I can then just like toss this product and call it like a declutter, because I think it's gonna have to be that case. But yeah, I'm glad that I've finally got 6 out of 15 uses, but I would like to maybe have another like 4 to get to the 10 point mark by the next update. I think that would be kind of nice. Next, I have the Charlotte Tilbury Amber Gold Eyes to Mesmerize those like cream pot eyeshadows. This is not bad. I've had 1 use since the last update. This is just like a close up of the product. Um, I think if you were to have like dry to like a medium, like dry to normal sort of eyelids, that'll be okay for you to use this product. I have somewhat oily eyelids, which means whenever I do use cream products, they will always crease up on the folds of my eyes. There's nothing I can really do about that, and it is just quite frustrating. Whereas I think this is such a nice one and done eyeshadow that if it works for you. It works really well for you. And I think there'll be some people out there that will really, really enjoy this product. That being said, for the price point, I don't necessarily think it's worth it. Whereas if you're somebody who only collects like very specific types of products, has a very, very curated collection, you don't mind spending on luxury. Well, not luxury, but like high end is where this would be. You might really enjoy this product. But if you have like oily, it's like me, I don't know how much you'll necessarily get along with this product. I've had a lot of uses over the last like several years, but the one thing that always puts me off is how much it sort of creases on like the inner eyes of mine, which is the only part that really frustrates me. So one time I did use this and I packed on a shimmer, like a matte shimmer, sort of like a powder on top, and that seemed to work fine, which I think is going to be the only way for me to use this up. I have a lot of uses left on this. I think it's just like 4 out of 30, which is crazy because it's such a like a basic everyday sort of product I could use. But it's the fact that it almost feels like a chore is stopping me from using it so much. So again, I think this is another product I'm going to try to use alongside either that sort of shimmer that you guys have seen, or find another way to sort of use it alongside other products I'm panning and seeing how it goes. I don't want to pass it on to anyone now because it's so old at this point, which I don't even feel comfortable passing it on to like family or friends because it's quite an old product. And I definitely wouldn't like sell it online because I think that is also disrespectful. Um, but yeah, let's see how it goes. I hope I have some more uses on this by next update. It would be nice to sort of see this look a little bit more emptier, but I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. We skip a bunch of letters. We move down to E, and that's for Elf. And this is the Wild Peach, like, lipstick from them. This is supposed to be sheer lipstick. I don't necessarily feel like it's sheer sort of product, or at least it's not sheer enough for me to use, especially a shade like this is quite bright. So I'll show you what one swatch looks like and what 1, 2, 3, 4 swatches look like when you just go back and forth. So that's just what one looks like, and the one next to it is what four would look like altogether. So for some people that use this particular product or this sort of shade or like the shade, they would love this, but for me it's not really my most favorite. This is now I think 3 maybe 4 years old, so I have had it for some time. The way I'm kind of tracking this is in this notebook because I want to see how it goes like usage wise. What the hell? Oh, I'm holding it upside down. It would be helpful if I was holding it the right way around so I could show you guys. But the way I'm using this or tracking this is drawing marks because I want to basically use up this product for good and have it out of my collection. So I've been like drawing the lines as I go here. There isn't much progress since that last line that I drew, and it's kind of almost at the same point. So I'm gonna leave it as it is. I'm where the summer is coming up, and I have a couple of like neutral sort of eye products that I really want to try using up or using during the summer so I can experiment with like more bolder, colorful lips. I think this would then get quite a bit of use at the time. Eventually, once I'm done with some other sort of lip products, I'm trying to pan up as if it was like a lip balm. I will try to use this up as if it is a lip balm because it doesn't feel drying and does feel slightly hydrating, which is nice, and that's why I'll probably end up using it up in that way. But I have a while to go before I even think about using this like that. We have our first empty for this update, and that's for the letter H. This is the translucent veil setting powder. This was 2 grams of product, but the 2 grams lasted me a good period of time. There's literally nothing left in here. I also had to take the whatever that part is at the top off because it became very difficult for the powder to actually come out or try to like sift it onto this part of the product. So I just took it out in the end, and that just made me want to use this product more and more and have it used up. For the price point, I don't necessarily think I would go out my way to purchase this. People say it's a very blurring sort of product and it works really well under the eyes. I thought it was just an okay product. I did love the fact that it was so finely milled. I think that was really nice about this, but where I am a more oily sort of person, I would need to use something a little bit more heavy duty than something like this. I think if you have like more dry skin or even like normal skin, I think this would be really well for you. But for me, where I do have quite oily skin, especially in the summertime where I can get really oily, I need something that's a little bit more like long lasting than this particular powder. Most of the time I'm at home, so it doesn't really make a difference even if my face was to get really oily, but it would still be nice to maybe use something else that is as finely milled as this. People that love it really do love it, but I don't necessarily think this would be the go-to product for everyone. Like, yes, it is nice. It was very slightly blurring to an extent, but it's not as I wouldn't say, like, I know there's some like really hardcore people about this product, and I wouldn't really give it that same of like, I wouldn't really put it on the same sort of pedestal as a lot of people might necessarily put it on, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm really bad at trying to explain things, but yeah, it's an okay product. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to purchase it again. If I was to be gifted this product or be sent it in any sort of capacity, would I use it? Absolutely yes. Probably more in the winter time, because that's when my oils are a little bit more at bay. Whereas in the summertime, this is not a very oily skin friendly product, if that makes sense. Okay, that's way too much. Let's just move on to the next product. For eye, we have the iconic London Velvet Smooth Pore Refining Primer. I think I've used this maybe once since the last update, and that's not really much. The goal for this is just to have it use up completely. I'm not really marking it down the side because it's really difficult to see, and a lot of the times in these products there'll be like an air bubble, so it's not really that effective to sort of like track. But I have like made quite a bit of use. The top part is becoming a lot skinnier than it was before, which is nice to see. It would be nice to have this product empty by the end of the year. It's an okay product. It does fill your pores like you need, and then you can just go ahead with the rest of your routine. It does usually sit pretty well under most of the makeup that I use, which is nice. But um, I feel like there's got to be cheaper options in the market. Like, it's not, even though it's a high-end product, if it was to work really well, I would definitely be saying go out and repurchase it or whatever. This one is okay again, so I don't really see myself necessarily going out of my way to repurchase the product or hyping it up too much, but it is okay. It does a job. Like, it's fine. It's just a fine product. And that's just it with this. Another empty I have is for the Main by Mitchell lip gloss. This is the shade Perry Twinkle. I took the stopper out, and this is the most I can get out. I got to a point where I just could not be bothered with this gloss anymore because it is difficult to sort of use, and it's hard to get the rest of this out. So I'm calling it quits. I have so many other glosses for me to even worry about cleaning this product out for good and using up that way. I just can't, and I don't want to risk it getting leaky. So far it's been okay, but a lot of the times glosses do end up leaking, and I don't want to have to deal with any of that mess because that can be extremely frustrating. But that being said, I have made a lot of progress on this. I'm glad to call this done. I have so many of the glosses I need to sort of work my way through. Would I repurchase this particular product again? Maybe in a different shade, but not in a blue shade, because I don't really think I would ever go ahead and use that unless I was doing anything very creative. But that being said, if you are looking for like a blue gloss that does have like that tinge of blue and it actually shows up as blue, then this would be a nice product for you to maybe try and play around with. These are also sold very cheaply on TikTok shops. If you are looking for Made by Major products, just check out TikTok shop because its products are always on sale over there. We move on to the letter N, and this is the NYX Orange Zest eye pencil. The goal is to try and use it up by the end of the year. I don't know if that's really possible because there is a lot of product left in here. It's quite a big pencil, but I have been marking it on this notebook, and I have made some decent progress since I've rolled it in. So the most recent line is from like today. So as you can see, there has been a lot of product uses here, which is really nice because each month I can at least make a new line. But I have a very long way to go with this product, and I don't know if I can necessarily see it being an empty by the end of the year. I mean, it would be lovely if it was, but I think I have a few like eye pencils I'm trying to use up in this year, which doesn't really help me in any way. But it would be nice to, even if I can get to the halfway point with this, that'd be great because then I'll know that the next year I can completely have it used up. It is a nice shade, it sits really well on my waterline, and I think I have done a couple of videos using this in my waterline. If not, maybe I'll do like a get ready with me with my Project Pan products and do like a life update or something like that. If that's something you guys would maybe be interested in, let me know as well. The next product is from Patrick Tar, and it's this blush. It's so beautiful. She's adorable. I got this secondhand because of how impossible it became to actually get a hold of these blushes. I remember when they first launched on Cult Beauty, they sold out so quick, and then whenever they did another like restock, they used to just sell out so fast. It was between that and me not having money, and whenever I did have money, these were all sold out, and then never knowing when these would be restocked again, only to then for him to completely just like stop these was quite sad. I'm not gonna lie. I much prefer a powder blush than like a cream one. His duos are nice, but I think again, like, where I'm so used to just using powder blush, and because I have oily skin, I do also prefer powder. I would much rather just buy one of these because I can see myself using these up very, very quickly, and just not even very quickly, but like enjoying these a lot more than the other duos. Um, That being said, I have kind of stopped buying the duos because even though they're such beautiful shades, I'm very wary of the fact that there's cream products and cream products always expire very, very fast. But yeah, this is a beautiful shade. I love it so much. It's like a burnt, sort of like sun-kissed look that it kind of, not a burnt thing, but like very like sun-kissed sort of look. And I love this blush. It's so beautiful, but I'm so gutted he stopped these so quick and he just moved on to the duos. I mean, I do get it, but it would have been really nice if he stuck to these as well, because then these would have sold if not had the same level of like hype as his duos do. That being said, I've had 2 uses since the last update, which takes me to 9 out of 50. The goal for this is either to have 50 uses or to hit pan. I don't know at this point which is going to come faster, probably the 50 uses, because there is a dip, but it's so little that it's almost difficult to sort of see. But where his like branding was, which was just PT, that has like disappeared, which is quite nice to see. But yeah, I really don't know if I can hit pan in this by the end of the year. Probably will hit 50 uses before I can get to that point, but it's fine. I do need to again try to use this product more. We then have this letter for Q. This is the Becca Rose Quartz highlighter. I've had 1 use since the last update. It is more of like a dry highlighter compared to the other ones from Becca that I have, and the goal is to have 50 uses on this as well. I think at this point I'm at 8. Yeah, 8 in total, which is quite low considering we're at the halfway point within the year. It would be very nice for me to sort of try to use it up. The good thing is I did use up the, I guess, spoiler alert, my Pan That Face palette. So that means that the highlighter is gone and I'm now free to experiment with my other project pan items because the blush is done, like the entire palette is done, which means I can now experiment more with blushes and highlighters, which does mean I can then use this one up a little bit more alongside the other one that's in my TikTok project pan. So it'll be nice to have some more uses over this in the next couple of months. It is quite a nice shade though. I'll just try and swatch it for you guys. I don't know if you'll be able to sort of like, I don't know if that even swatched properly. I don't really think it did. Yeah, I don't really think it did. It's hard to swatch this one, but it kind of just looks like that. I hope that can kind of pick up. And then my swatch, showing my swatches are not like the best, but yeah, it's more like the drier sort of formula compared to the other Becca ones that I have. So it would be nice to sort of use this up. If I then decide I no longer want this, I will just like try and sell it because I'm pretty certain people will want to or possibly consider buying this. I'll see. If not, I'll just give it to one of my like family members that might enjoy this product as well. But yeah, this product I know will last me like a lifetime, and I'm trying also not to buy any new highlighters unless they are very like colorful, fun, like iridescent, sparkly, not sparkly, but like in a sense of like um have like the color shift in it. Like the fun ones from Kaleidos, like anything like that, I would consider repurchasing, or like not repurchasing but buying. But anything like just like a pink highlighter, like a champagne highlighter, I don't really see the need to buy them unless something really catches my eye and makes me think, oh damn, like I need that in my collection. So far, nothing like that has happened, which is nice to know. I've also stopped using as much highlighter I used to use years ago, so that does mean that my highlighter usage in general and how quick I get through highlighters has gone down by a very drastic amount. Um, so yeah, I will probably end up decluttering some more highlighters at some point within the year. Don't know when. When I do, I'll always share that with you guys. But yeah, like 8 uses out of 50, and like we're at the halfway point of the year or almost there. Is insane. The next product is the Revolution lip liner in the shade TGIF. Surprisingly, I've actually got a lot of usage on this since I last rolled it in. I'll also just try and swatch that for you guys. It is a very deep like brown, as you can probably hopefully see, but it is a really nice shade to use. I used this to as a lip liner, and then I went in with like red lipstick for one of my cousin's wedding events. It was for a Cavalli night. Honestly, I can't lie to you guys, I really loved the way that the lipstick looked on me because it's blended in with this sort of this shade and it just looks so nice. Whereas I'm not really used to wearing red lipstick on its own, so I find it really weird. But that being said, I have had some decent use on it. I just need to find where it is. Okay, so it's this one here. Each month you can see as it goes along that it's just getting shorter and shorter. And it's kind of like steady usage each month, which is what's really nice to see. I do have a feeling I can definitely get this done. And where it's been like pretty steady use each update, it would be very nice to have this as an empty by the end of autumn. I think that would be really nice. I think that's also a goal I can easily work towards as well. And it would be really nice to just have my lip liner collection go down by a decent chunk. So I'm hoping that I can actually get some more use out of this and have this done by the end of the year. The next product is a palette that I've decided to have 20 uses in. Do I, at this current point, think I can hit that? Probably not, but we'll see. This is the Batty Bean and Shroud Cosmetics palette. This is the Halloween one, which is, I think, the second palette within this collection. And this is just what it looks like. I've had one use on this palette. It is a nice palette, don't get me wrong. But that being said, I don't understand what that yellowing, that in that yellow mustard shade, there's like the bits inside. So I can't tell if that's mold or if it's just powder that's not mixed in properly or what it is. But I guess it's fine. I used the mustard shade, the Crypt, this sort of shimmer down here, and then this here. And I think I also used this to make the winged liner, like the powder, and then I also think used its Showtime. So I used quite a lot of colors when I created the look. I'll try, if I remember, I will try and insert a picture somewhere so you guys can see. I can't lie, this shade was beautiful. I did actually really like it. I can see the vision behind this palette, but I do still prefer the other palette she released a little bit more because I feel like those are shades I would find a lot easier to use, whereas these feel a little bit more on like the kind of like on the more warmer tone side, and I don't necessarily go for a lot of these. I don't really go for like bright oranges like this, so it's going to be hard for me to try to use that. This is a very sort of matte shade, and I wouldn't really use this as an eyeshadow, only as like a wing liner maybe. And I feel like I'm finding this palette a little bit more trickier to use because of that reason. But I managed to hit one use, which is quite nice. But I do still have a very long way to go. It's a 1 out of 20. And I don't know where the other 19 uses and how I'm gonna sort of bring it into this. I'm gonna have to really figure that out and see if I can use 2 or 3 palettes together to then get use out of all of the palettes within this project. But it's slightly starting to stress me out a little bit, I can't lie. We have another lip liner in this project, and this is the one from Colourpop in the shade Minuteman. I'll swatch this one for you too. This is another really nice lip liner, and I do use this a lot. So it just looks like that. I hope you can kind of see that, but that's just what it looks like. It is so beautiful, but it's a little bit warmer. I would prefer shades that are a little bit more on the cool tone side. I do think that they suit me a little bit more than like warmer tones do. And I feel like if I'm using shades like this, it's better to use like more cool tone lip liner. But I just grabbed this because it was just like the easier, convenient shade for me to use. And it needs to be sharpened up anyway. So 2 for 1. But yeah, I've made some good use on it. Let me just grab my notebook. Here you can kind of see the use along with this lip liner, and it is getting smaller each month. You can see like a decent line of progress, and that's what I like to see. As long as I can see progress, like I'm fine. And there is decent progress on this. And this is another lip liner I do feel like I can use up by the end of the year, and it would be so nice to have this as an empty. Because it's such a smooth, sort of like creamier product. It's not creamy to the point where it's gonna like it starts to sort of like leak or spread, which I've had that once before with a product, and it was just so weird. But it does sort of stay budged. But if you are somebody who kind of maybe um isn't able to top up that often, I don't know how you'd maybe like these, but these are very cheap and easy to buy, and they usually have the sets on offer anyway. And if you are looking for like a bunch of different shades that you can that are fairly affordable, that are good, very creamy, these are really nice, and so is the Revolution ones that I had earlier as well in this project. Both so nice, and I just love them so much. And this is another one that I'm so excited to see as an empty because I can actually visualize it, and I know that this is product, but I use it so much I know it will definitely be emptied as well. Now moving on to the letter, I think U. This is the Oma Beauty Coming to America to um palette. This is the Royal Heritage palette, and I can't lie, I do really love it. It is very reflective though, but that's just sort of what the palette itself looks like. I've used this a decent amount of times, and I have used almost all of these shades in here. um yeah, I've only hit one use since I've actually rolled it into this project pan, and that's 1 out of 20 again. So once again, I'm really gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna use this palette, because I do need to sort of see more usage on it. I know that I'm definitely still going to keep this around because I do love the quality of the eyeshadows that are in this palette, and I do think they work so beautifully. And once you've like sort of done your makeup and you leave it on for about like maybe 20 minutes, it blends in, like it sort of melts in almost, and it does look really, really nice. I don't know if they are still producing like makeup. I haven't really seen anything new in a while. That is also partly to do with the fact that I'm trying to avoid any new releases, but I haven't really seen anybody talking about Oma Beauty products. And every now and again, when I do check out some of those pages that sort of post new products, I haven't really seen anything from them. So I don't know if they're still producing stuff or not. But this is such a lovely palette, and I do love it so much. It's I've used it before, this product, quite a few times, and every time I used it, I used to love it so much. And anybody else who used to see my eyeshadow, they used to also like comment on it quite a lot. So if you can get your hand on this, if it's sort of out and about somewhere, you might really love it like I do as well. But I need to use this more because of how, like, it's unfair to neglect this product where I love it so much. It doesn't make sense. Like, that, where's the disconnect? Like, if you love something so much, why am I not using it? It doesn't make any sense. But I need to sort of like pick up the use on here. So that's something I'm going to try to do over the next couple of months. We have another lipstick. This is the Victoria Beckham in the shade Pout. I use this one quite a lot as well. It's the more like a peachy tone lipstick. I really hope you guys are able to sort of see that. It is really, really nice. And I have a decent amount of use on here. I think since the last update, I've had 3 uses, and it's now 8 out of 30 uses, which is still quite a long way to go. I'm almost at the third way mark, which is quite nice. But when you actually see on here, there's not really a new line to draw. I think that's because I've ended up flattening it, where normally the pencil or the lipstick has that sort of like edge on it like that. It's not like flat. I've just flattened it, and that's why there's no like new like sort of line. But that's just what it was from last month. So there's not really point in me showing you that. But I have had some use on it, which is really, really nice to see. I'm not using it as much though, so I'll probably use this like once, and like when I've done my makeup, and then during the rest of the day I've topped up using something else, which is quite often something I do end up doing, especially if I've used a lipstick and then packed my bag away. But it is a nice product. It would be really nice if I could have this one as an empty as well. This, I do love the packaging of this. It's very like heavy duty, and it feels luxe. Like, if I'm going to spend this much money, give me packaging that doesn't feel cheap and light. Especially if I'm paying over the £30 mark for your products, it doesn't make any sense. You cannot be giving me cheap packaging if you're going to charge such high like amounts of money. Like, it then needs to make sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna pay that money, at least give me that luxury experience that I want and that you want me to pay for. But yeah, it is so nice. I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on different like Victoria Beckham products. I know there have been some that people have really, really loved, especially like I think the single shadows that she has, but I don't know if they're like creamy products or if they're just like powders. I don't really know. But that's something I think I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on, because I've seen those are quite popular. But I do really, really like this as well. The last product for this update is the Colourpop and Disney collab, or the High School Music collab in the shade Wildcats. I'm using this blush today. I love this so much. It's ended up being one of my favorite blushes, and I use this almost all the time, or as often as I can. Since the last update, I've had 3 uses on it, which takes me up to 11, and that's 11 out of 25 now, which is crazy. Um, I haven't done as much makeup since the last update until now, which is kind of sad if you think about it. But this is so beautiful. It's one of those shades that will go really nice with like eyeshadows like these, and that's usually when I grab this sort of product. And I really do love it. Every time I use it, I'm really enjoying it. Since I've used up my face palette, I've had a little bit more time to experiment, and that's where the 3 uses have sort of come from, and that's been really nice. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was really like motivated to get that palette done. Since like the last time I uploaded an update, there really wasn't much product left in that face palette. So the last like month or two, I've just been so determined to get that done, and guess what? It's finally done. So that's given me time to play around with these products as well. Um, Once I sort of like hit the 25 mark, I think I will have to put this away, just so I can focus on some of the other blushes in my collection, and kind of figure out if I'm going to be keeping everything or not, because that's the only way I can sort of determine if I'm going to keep something. But this is so nice. I don't think they still sell it, because they discontinued so many products on their website for whatever reason. But this is just, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm not even gonna lie. That was everything for the Beauty A to Z update 3, I think. there was a lot of products that I did get some use on. The only problem is I'm not really using up products as quickly as I would necessarily like, and I do need to sort of like focus on some of these products a little more, considering we are at the halfway point, and I've technically only got 3 empties because one of them was a declutter because it was expired. So it would be nice to maybe have some of these other products used up, or just get some more progress on it. So even if I can only hit half of the usage goal, that would be kind of nice. But hopefully next update I can have something that's a little bit more better, and then to show you guys on what I've done so far. But thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you next week for another episode. Bye.